Final call for today from California. Seth, pronouns are he, him. And Seth wants to explain to us that if Christianity is true, there's real negative consequences. And I think I agree with Seth. So welcome, Seth. How are you?
Hey, man, this is crazy. I've watched you for years, and I've even been on your Twitch last week. I'm the one that is on paternity leave. That I mistakenly said maternity, but I'm on maternity leave. Paternity leave.
Yeah. When you said this is crazy, I thought you were going to ask for my number. Hey, I just met you.
So I'm happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
And so I've been, like I said, I watched you for years. I have a position. I have a couple questions at the end if we're able to get through them. Just one I'm curious about. I don't really need to respond to them. I just want to ask them, see what your thoughts are. So my position, I just kind of say it clearly. I'll try to be really specific. I know how conversation can get quickly out of whack. So I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me here. So my position, is that if what Jesus says is true, it actually matters how we live. So basically, just a way to explain this further is, let's say a debate is over between a Christian and atheist, right? Everyone goes home for the day. Now, what I'm kind of talking about is any other debate, that goes on. Everyone can go home. Sure, it'd be a nice thing to think about. My argument is if what Jesus says is true, then it actually matters. So, for example, all the audience that goes home, some of them are going home. Maybe some of them are going to watch porn. Maybe some of them are going home. They're going to be abusive. Maybe some of them are going home. They're going to have road rage on the way. Maybe some of them, so on and so forth. Maybe they're going to go gamble. So my position is this pertains to one of the most important fundamental aspects of life, and it is so important that it actually matters how you live your life. And if what Jesus says is true, like my position stated, it is actually wrong to do those things. And on an atheistic worldview, of course, is different. Everyone has different opinions, but as Christians, we all have the same opinion. And so, from those different opinions, some might see,
that's not
fine, or porn is fine, or go ahead.
So first of all, it's not true that Christians all have the same opinion. There's over 1,000 denominations, and they disagree on including what the nature of Jesus is or was, is disagreed on by Christians. And when you listed all the things about what people were going to go do, you listed watch porn and gamble, two things I'm fond of, with road rage and abuse, two things I don't like at all. I would agree with you that if Christianity is true, what we do matters. But I think what we do matters even if Christianity isn't true.
Right. And what you said earlier about all Christians, you're correct on that. What I meant was we should all have a source, which is the biblical worldview and the Gospels and what Jesus says. The problem is that the biblical worldview.
Right. The problem is that the biblical worldview is grossly immoral, and I would think that you would probably agree with that. Like, do you think that slavery is morally permissible?
I figured that would come up. I definitely want to go. We can definitely go there. I don't want to confuse you on my position. I don't want to. I'm already kind of messing up here. I feel it. So I'm sorry. But let me just quickly go back to a specific topic just so we can stay on the position. I can definitely go that route as well.
Well, we're running out of time. So, you do it however you want.
Yeah, sure. So really quick. So porn, for example. Okay, I used to be involved in porn. My wife is aware of it. And so let me just take that one example. So let's say you said, you're fond of it. A lot of people agree that it's fine. A lot of people do it at relationships, so on and so forth. So if I could prove, right, that it is destructive in a number of different ways and how men see women, would that then change your mind on it?
You would have to prove that it's destructive in how I see women. Although I guess you'd have to presume that I'm watching porn with women in it. That seems to be presumptive, but I do happen to watch porn with women in it. But if you could demonstrate that it's giving me that it is a destructive perception that I have about women is because of porn, yeah.
Okay, right. So, without I can definitely I could go into the details if you'd like me to, but what my main point was that as you go down the list.
Seth,
so, yeah, go ahead.
What bad view of women do I currently have?
Right. So with porn, I would say that it objectifies your view of women.
No, I said, what bad view of women do I, Matt, currently have?
That I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Do me next too.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
So the thing that we agreed here was that if you could demonstrate that porn has given me a distorted view of women, a bad view of women, that then I would agree that it was harmful and I would quit. But you don't know and can't list any bad view of women that I have. So how could you possibly tie something that you can't demonstrate to porn?
Understood. What if I said taking a poll?
It's so weird.
Relate porn to.
It's so weird because we're way over time, but when I ask a question and then you just, okay, it's like that question showed that your line of reasoning was fallacious, and then you just, okay, and move on to the next thing. It's really frustrating because at the end of the day, even if it turned out that porn was in fact harmful, that has nothing to do with whether or not Jesus is God. And it also could be the case that even if gambling is destructive and road rage, even if everything that the Bible pronounces as a negative is in fact negative, that doesn't tell you anything about whether it's pronounced as negative because there's a God. Meanwhile, the same book allows for slavery, holds men in a higher status than women with regard to property rights. They are not equal. With regard to slavery, they are not equal. There's no equality in there at all. Christ is the head of the church and men are the head of the household, and women are to be silent, and they don't have the same rights. And so if you want to make a case that perhaps porn has distorted my view of women, I would say that the Bible has distorted your view of women and reality.
Understood. I can definitely see how you would think that, and I understand that perspective. And
so how do you demonstrate that God?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not a Bible scholar, so when I do look at those difficult verses, I do say, there's a part of it that's a point for atheism, right? Because I don't want to be radical, right? I don't want to be radical and say, oh, as a Christian, I'm just going to ignore all the tough verses in the Bible, and I'm going to say, oh, I'll strictly go with the Bible. I'm seeking myself. I'm seeking for truth, just like you are, and I absolutely look into those type of verses, and I see.
So hold on, Seth. I'm confused.
So what did you find then?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I'm just confused because this concern about utility and like things like that is just irrelevant to whether or not the claim is true, which is like, so I guess I just have a disconnect. I don't really give a fuck all if like the Bible is accurate on some notions of like utility or maybe it has some things that like they could be right on from like a moral perspective in one case. Like Matt said, you're just that's juxtaposed.
It's like murder's wrong whether the Bible said so or not.
Yeah, and then we could just point out to like where it's condoned or where like Amalekites are supposed to be slaughtered or where it's okay in Mosaic law.
Whether you can keep the virgin girls for yourself, whether you need to turn them over to the church.
Yeah, so if we're going to play
this all day long.
Yeah, if we're going to play that game,
so
it's going to flip upside down. It's not going to be good. So it'd be a better case just to present why the claims are actually true as opposed to invoke something that's going to make it worse.
While I agree, Seth, that what we do matters. It matters whether or not Jesus is real or God is real. But we're 17 minutes past when we're supposed to end. And rather than keep going down this one, why don't you just call back on another Sunday and we'll just start with, here's why you think God is real, because that's the part that matters. I don't give a shit what God thinks about my sex life, whether he's real or not real. But if he's real, at least then we would have something to discuss.
Understood. and we can definitely talk. And like you said, you're over time. I appreciate you having me for this long. I can definitely call in another time. And that argument for, you know, what the evidence is for God, I would love to discuss that more. And my whole position here was just mainly for,
I'll put you on first.
Saying, you know, if these things all line up, then, you know, something is going on here. All of these things line up. And even though
they don't all line up. Call me back and explain what lines up, and I'll tell you why they don't line up and why you're absolutely wrong about it. But if you call back on this number, I'll put you on first if I'm on.
Yeah, I don't know that they line up if we've moved away from a lot of those things that are going to be constitutive of your religion, like slavery and slaughtering of Amalekite kids and stuff. So, yeah,
it's bizarre. I just did a video on Lot and his daughters in Sodom and Gomorrah, and the fact that the same story is kind of retold in a slightly different way. Whereas Lot offers up his 2 virgin daughters to the crowd so that they won't have sex with the angels who are staying with him. And then they refuse, so the angels blind them all. In another story, a man and his concubine are staying with a man and his daughter, and he offers up his daughter and the concubine, but the concubine ends up having to go out there and being sexually assaulted the entire night until she's just collapsed unconscious on the doorstep. And then her partner comes out after sleeping. I don't know how you can sleep. Says, "Get up, we got to go." She doesn't get up, so he throws her on the donkey, takes her home, and cuts her into 12 pieces and passes those 12 pieces out to the tribes of Israel, or sorry, the corners or boundaries of Israel, which means tribes in this context. Yeah. In any case, before anybody comes to me making presumptions about what porn I like, there's a lot of different porn I like, and what it's doing to my brain, you better at least know what my position is on things. And as long as I'm the one that's fighting for equality, as long as I'm the one that's standing up for individual freedom and individual sovereignty, I don't think that you and your Bible have fuck all to lecture me about.